Welcome to Tai Chi. Everybody ready? Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Interlock your fingers, waist exercise. Keep them extended to the sky as you use your hips and waist to peek at the heel of your opposite foot. 4, 5, 6. Okay, stop. Okay, stop. Watch what I'm doing. Again, watch what I'm doing correctly. Extend your hand up to the sky. Reach out there. Keep them all the time close to your ear so that you can use your hips and waist. Here we go. 6, 7, 8. Not easy. 9, 10. Okay, try to remember that one. Airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight to the right. Kick your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3. Shift your weight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman, opening up your span, parallel feet. Choose one side, cross and hold, sit on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shift weight, sit down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, incorporating good Tai Chi posture with our golden cockerel, okay? So using our good safety measures. Good Tai Chi posture. Shift weight to the left, up. Rotate that hip and waist to the left, golden cockerel. Shift weight, rotate, up, golden cockerel. Spiral that top hand as it sits to the sides of your thigh. Spiral and up and down. Turn that hips and waist for better balance. Last set. Okay, one set for me to watch. Go ahead. Continue. Okay, then watch me, okay? And I'm on my journey too, but I want to get you a little bit better. So right now, I see most of you going nicely, watching for that balance, okay? Watching for that balance. But I want you to add one more really important component. I want you to put your hands at your hips and move it to the left, then move it to the right. Move it to the left, move it to the right, and then watch, okay? Put your hands down. When you shift your weight to be a golden cockerel, use that hips and waist to get you to rotate on your axis rather than, okay? So we want to create a spiral to the right, or left, or whatever, and spiral and move to the left. Okay, so the power moves, the waist moves rather than up and down motion. Soften it out, broaden it out, spiral it out, create circles, okay? Create circles. The energy gets to come out and it gets to relax. It gets to gather up, it gets to relax. Guess what's happening? It's helping you to relax. It's getting you safer as you move. It's making you use your body in a better way, okay? So never stop learning, always progress, okay? Here we go with some more warm-ups. T-stance, holding your ball. Out on an L, part the wild horse's mane. Get a good stretch. Sit back, lower, pivot, center with the ball, go slowly. Out on an L, move that ball. Get a good stretch. Soften out your movement. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, root down on a T, out into the side. Part the wild horse's mane. Get a good stretch. Sit back and lower. Pivot, ball and T, out into the side. Make your core work for you. Think through your movement. Hands go for the ride. Show me. L stance. Power through your mind, power through your core. Get a good stretch. Sit back, lower. Pivot. Ball. L, bow stance. Sit back, parallel higher on a T. Hands go for the ride as you brush your knee. And as we're doing it, can you ask yourself and say, are my hands being powered by my hips and waist and mind? Or are my hands leading my motion? They should never lead your motion. The power of your movement is generated by your mind and actively moved through your hips and waist. We learn to warm them up. Let's make sure it's for a good reason. Holding your ball on a T-stance, ward off. Turn your hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Are the hands going for the ride or are you pulling them back? Make sure they are going for the ride, only because your mind and your waist and your hips are moving that energy. Even now, push, but use your core. Turn your hips and waist will allow you to then grasp your bird's tail. And as you sit down and sit back, make sure the hands go for the ride. They not only go slower when they're powered correctly, but you're incorporating your core according to what your mind tells it to do. Turn hips and waist. Sit down. Turn the hips and waist allows you to look back, push out. Make yourself small, then grow and power out. Other side. Because when you are doing martial arts, you want to stay stable and you want the power to come from your point of power, which is your core. If you should only use your wrists, upper arms, and arms in general, there's no power. You want the power of your core. Okay, listen carefully. Hold your ball. Part the wild horse's mane. Cloud hands in the 24. Hands go for the ride. Show me. Use your hips and waist. The better you can use your hips and waist, the better you are as floating clouds. Single whip, out into the side L stance, bow stance. Half step, sit back. High pad. Hands go for the ride, use your hips and waist. Step out to the left on a heel, gather energy, spiral up and out. Actually, I missed the point. Pivot. Left hand. Kick out. Split. Set. Don't forget that little rotation of the hips. Rotation of the hips. Maiden. A shout. Sit back. Do a shout. Half step to the back. Set up your right hand. Angle to the bottom of the sea. Flash arms like a fan. Rock. Pivot. Deflect. Parry and punch. Touch. Roll back. Spiral forward. Sit down, sit back. Pivot. Open pivot. In pivot. Weight on the left. Embrace the tiger. Turn. Push in. Push out. Okay, so that wasn't really what you expected, but we shouldn't expect everything the same old way. We know that the 24 is difficult, and we took off and did something difficult, okay? So we know there's a lot more that we need to learn in the next few weeks. Just to go over what some of the essentials that we learned. And we can, as you hear it, you can stay there and move with me, okay? We said with good Tai Chi posture, we can commence. So 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, off the ground, open, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Rotate. Here we are. How do we get our hands up? How do we draw up our water? Our hands are still engaged with our thighs. We do not do this to bring it up. We do not lift up our shoulders, but what do? We use our core to bring up and draw up that water. At shoulder level, we drop our shoulders, elbows, and wrists. That's not all. When we form our ball, we do not lift that right shoulder, but we come up in a rounded fashion to hold our ball. Okay, so that was a lot said. So what is it that I'm really trying to get at? Okay, so I'm going to do it wrong. And everybody's going to say, you know what, I don't do that. Who does that? Like, everybody in their right mind should know that. But little do you know that even a small part of what I'm doing wrong may be what I'm trying to get after in maybe everybody, okay, including myself. So this is my 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 100. Okay, so you saw that one. That's as best as I could do, okay? So watch this one. This is the worst that I can do, okay? Sometimes worse seems a natural thing, so that's why I'm trying to adjust here, okay? And anything in between. So this is that was an exaggeration, okay? So anything in between, okay? Anything in between. You see this? It's wrong. It's very wrong. Because why? Getting back to Tai Chi posture, you're supposed to be dropping your shoulders. So how can you drop it if it's raising up high here? And right away when I lift, and you can do it wrong with me, if you lift that shoulder, you're finding that you can't root down. You have to tend to this highness. But once you drop the shoulder, it's in line with the weighted or the foot that has your gravity. Can we try that? Let's do it correct first, okay? Good Tai Chi posture, grow through your spine. Everybody grow a little taller, but not lifting up and making yourself look like a soldier. 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Rotate. Use power of the core. Do not use your shoulders. Think it through. Reverse the process. Drop down, flex knees. Round out with the bottom hand. Bring in that top hand. Here's your ball. Out and to the side. Drop that right shoulder as you part the wild horse's mane. Sit back. Twist out. Don't lift that shoulder as you hold your ball. Drop that left shoulder. Here it is. Sit back, lower, pivot out. Round out your motion. Move your ball, drop your shoulder. Half step. Spin to the right as if you're brushing that right hand. Lift up the foot. White crane, set it down. At this point, both shoulders should drop. They should drop to give the weight to your back foot. Okay, let's see if we can do it wrong now, okay? Let's see if we can do it wrong. So that anything that we do now when I say lift your shoulder, do it wrong. So that you can have that sensation where it is wrong, okay? All right, here we go. Commencing form. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, rotate. Lift the shoulders up, it's wrong. Drop them down. Lift the right shoulder up. Out on an L. Lift the left shoulder up. Sit back. Out. Lift the left shoulder up. Move the ball, lift the right shoulder up. Sit back, twist out, lift up the right shoulder, out with an L, lift the left shoulder. Half step, left shoulder high, right shoulder up, and keep it up. That is very awkward, okay? So you say, yeah, that's hard work. So if it's really hard work, then you know you don't have to be so cruel to yourself. Drop your shoulders and stay relaxed. Remember we did this? That's to help us loosen up. So we need to stay on that drop side. No matter, even if in this point, we're not lifting that shoulder, it's higher, but it's still dropped to the back or weighted foot to allow us to come this way. So just to jump ahead, if we were doing flash arms like a fan, this shoulder does not come up, So part of the reason it comes up is because your elbow comes up. But you can still raise it, and it's wrong, even if the elbow is down. So I would strongly recommend that you look through your movements and make sure the elbow is down, the shoulder is dropped, not raised. Okay, raise your right shoulder, raise your left shoulder, raise both shoulders. You don't want that sensation, but you want the drop on the right, the drop on the left. Now do a flash arm for me. When you flash arms, drop that back shoulder by dropping down the elbow. When you take a single whip, this back arm now, you don't want to, just because the back hand is higher, you don't raise it. You drop it down, drop the shoulder down. So can you do that on your own and run through a set, if non-instructional, or while we're working now in class, and just call to yourself, are my shoulders dropped, okay? So we want the shoulder to be dropped. Oftentimes we see the shoulder coming up just to show that you can hold your ball nicely. But the thing that I'm getting at is that you're dropped at this point, you can still keep that shoulder dropped and still come to a ball. Okay? So everything's about sensation, how it looks, but how it feels is important too, in line with the tenets, dropping shoulder, substantial, insubstantial. Waist doing the, okay, let's just try cloud hands, okay, in the 24. Just stand there and do cloud hands, okay, from here. And say to yourself, she said the hands go for the ride. And you ask yourself, are my hands going for the ride? And if the answer is yes, then say to yourself, well, what's making it move? And you say, it's my famous hips and waist that I've warmed up so well. Keep your hands there and move your hips and waist. Keep your hands there. Will it go to 12 o'clock if your hips and waist turn and rotate on its axis? The more you can say yes, the more you understand how you can use your whole body to make your movement. Single whip. Now, single whip, you're going to sit, you're in a T, you're going to come out in an L. You're going to step out, turn your hips and waist, front hand goes for the ride. Let's try it again. Last, cloud hands in a T stance, right? Hook, step out, turn hips and waist, push out. One more time. Cloud hands. If you need to adjust if you don't have room, use your hips and waist. Use your hips and waist. Hands go for the ride. Second rotation. The more you can swivel and rotate on that axis, you are in good Tai Chi posture. You are balanced. Getting ready for single whip. Hook the back hand on a T. Left hand closer to your right cheek. Power with your back. Step out on an L. Turn your hips and waist. What happens to your hand? It goes for the ride, except right here, you're making that twist of your wrist. Okay, is that magic? No, right? It's all within your system. You think it through. So like I said last time, we're learning something about our body, but in a specific movement, but it applies to all of the movements. So yes, we're using our hips and waist. Yes, we're using our hips and waist. Are we still using hips and waist? Yes, my hips and waist turn to allow me to, for my hands, look, right even here, eye contact. Am I bringing it out here? No, I'm turning my hips and waist, pushing out that power. Hands definitely go for the ride, but you have to break it down and you have to say to yourself, are my hands going for the ride? And if you find that they're not, then you've got to get your hips and waist moving for you. And not only hips and waist now, when you grasp the bird's tail, and that's sort of my pet peeve in watching people, ward off. Turn hips and waist. Hey, how come my hands went? They're attached to my body, right? Turn hips and waist, reposition my hands. That's not all. How do my hands get back there? I sit down. I'm not moving my hands. My hands are down because I'm coming down. And what happens when it gets back there? I turn my hips and waist. How does it get back up front? Eye contact. I turn my hips and waist. What's happening? Yeah? Is that an aha? Yeah? Okay, small things do big things for us, okay? And that's what Tai Chi is all about. I think once you get that feeling and then sensation, it's going to push you to learn it even more, to get even better. So I want to introduce it right away, okay? So what are we saying? We've been taking Tai Chi for more than 5 years. And only now, oh my goodness. Hey, but that's our journey. We learn more as we experience more, okay? All right, let's go back to getting to, I think we're going to cover Serpent and the Crafts, right? We were already high pat on the horse. Okay, let's get to that point now, okay? Okay, good Tai Chi posture. Yang 24, be sure you have enough room on the left. Grow a little taller through your spine. 50-50. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Rotate. Deep breath, elevate. Bring up that water, draw up the water without your shoulders, but your core, using it, powering it. Push down, flexing. Round out the left hand, hold the tea and a ball, out to the side. Hands go for the ride. Sit down, pivot out. Do not raise your shoulders, L stance. O stance. Sit back, twist out, round out, L stance. Final parting of the wild horse's mane. Half step, hold your ball. Spin it to the right as if you're going to brush that hand that's coming up. Lift up the front foot, place it down on its toe, weight on the back. Drop your shoulders. White crane spreads its wings. Drop your front foot as you bisect your body. Spiral to the back as you look at your backhand. Lift up the front foot, set it on its heel. Drop your shoulders, do not raise them. Brush your knee. Sit back, twist, parallel higher without lifting the shoulder. Watching that backhand, brush knee two. Sit back, twist, look at the backhand, all together spiral, forward, hands go for the ride. Did we forget? Half step, sit back, rock the front, do not raise your shoulders, drop your shoulders, play your lute. Dip the right hand closer to the left elbow. Drop your front foot, center the front hand, raise the back hand as you glance open. Lift up without raising your shoulders, toe, ear, pivot to the ball of your foot as you meet, and repulse the monkey. Come down to your hips, center, glance, open, high lift, toe, ear, heel, meet, pivot, repulse two. Come down to your hips, center, do not lift shoulder, glance, toe, heel, pivot, 3. Center, glance, look, toe, make that modification we'll talk about, center, final. Hold your ball on a T stance. Make sure your ball is good size, make sure you're rooted with power. You're going to ward off. Making your hands go for the ride. Out on an L, push by extending into a bow stance. Turn the hips and waist, do not move your hands. Reposition your hands. Now sit down, sit back, turn your hips and waist so you can look back. Contact, turn your hips and waist, Move your hands by turning your hips and waist at the center, separating, rolling back, sitting down, and power extend forward through your core. Sit back, lower, pivot. Do not lift shoulders. Round out a ball on a T. Out on an L. Push them away, not using your forearm, but extending your torso. Turn your hips and waist, reposition your hands. Sit down, sit back. Turn your hips and waist to look back. Contact, turn your hips and waist to center. Push out that energy. Hands are definitely, continually going for a ride. Sit back, twist, turn your hips and waist as you pivot, cup. Turn your hips and waist to the 9, T. Do not lift the shoulder, look at the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock hook, across your face, leave that hand there, step out. What does the hand do? Follows, turn the wrist, push out. Sit back, twist, cup, parameter 1. Now let's see if the hands really are on auto, okay? Because our hips and waists are doing it for us. Being clouds. Weight on the left, toe, stem and cup. Turn the hips and waist, 9 o'clock. Flip the hands, close the feet. Turn the hips and waist to 12. Spin it out to 1, 2, 3. Flip the hands open. Leave the hands where they are. Turn the hips and waist to 12. Turn the hips and waist to 9. Close your form. Use your hips and waist to get to 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3. Flip, open. Use hips and waist. Do not move your hand. Do not move your shoulder. Close your stance. Hips and waist are directing your movements. Shift weight. How does it get to 12? Turn your hips and waist. Out to 9, turn your hips and waist. Turn your hips and waist. Continue out, hook. Left hand across the face on a T. Leave it there, L. Then turn the wrist, push out. Half step. Sit back. Naturally opens up your palms onto the toe of your front. Lift it up. Bring that left hand closer to your hip as the right hand goes up the mane. Cross at the wrist. Step out with your heel, palms down. Gather that rounded energy. Left hand, left foot up. Kick out, follow the kick. In. Tuck those elbows and wrists closer as you do an L stance, and then a bow stance to double punch. Sit back, lower, round out, gather energy as you spin towards the road. Left hand, left foot up. Follow the kick out, in, hook, split, down, halfway. Pivot as you veer to the left. Set. Shift your weight to the front foot. Up and down motion, also rotating that hip for golden cockle. Toe, pivot, hook hand higher. Parallel as you split. Sit down. Halfway. Veer and turn and pivot. Tuck that left hand upwards as a hook. Veer to your right as you rotate on your axis for golden cockle. Down with your heel. Hold your ball. Okay? So that's a lot. And then you can't see, and then you're saying, well, she's saying something different, and I don't really know. So when I break it down, it may seem a little bit more technical and and angular and not as smooth, but just for teaching, okay, just for making sure. So sit back, sit back, sit back, high pad on the horse, is that right? Cross at the wrist, double punch, single whip. Half step forward, sit back, walk the front foot, high pad on the horse. So this is the thing I'm talking about. And there's a slight rotation of the axis when you pat your horse. Center hand centers your body, other hand sits to the hip rather than up high. If you have it up high, more than likely you're pushing that shoulder up. So you want to drop to make sure the weight is on the back. Cross at the wrist, step out, palms down, heel down, gather energy, round it out. Come up with your right foot, right hand on the outside, kick out in line, in. You're on an L stance away from the back foot, now into a bow stance, okay? So if I were to drag the front foot back, I should have a space, a gap. Sit back, sit down. Pivot all the way around, round out that front, with your hands. Left hand, left foot up, kick out. Down, and then I'm repositioning myself so it's kick out with your left, in. This guy doesn't come down now. It kicks out, it comes down, and it splits. And no matter what I try to pass on to you, you get it in the beginning, and then this foot is wrong, okay? So you're making it more difficult for yourself. So when the left foot kicks out, it comes in, and then it goes out. But where it's planted is always on its toe. But where it stands is important. The toe, it's on its toe, which is correct. It's on its toe, but it's wrong in that it's flaring out. So remember I said that the toed foot has to be parallel to the planted foot. So this is as parallel as I can do it. If I turn my toe and I have it on my toe, it's incorrect because this foot is no longer parallel to the planted foot. Okay, so that's the first requirement, okay? In the beginning, perhaps, it's too much, and I am going slower for instructions that you find this point. So the best way I've taught it, and I think it's still the best way, is to place your right heel on a cross-section of a corner of a tile, all right? That's your planted foot. When you kick out with your left and in, you want to be behind that planted foot's heel, or you want to be in line with the heel of that foot. So it should be on or near that line where your cross-section of your heeled right foot is. So if you plant your right foot on a cross-section, and you come up with your left foot and your left hand, and you kick out, when you bring it in, that toe should land on the heeled line. So if you can test it, that's where you want it. Now, this is my most comfortable span. If you should kick out and say you want to come here, it's not going to help you because you're splitting your weight. You want to make sure that weight is always on this grounded right foot. So I'm not going to sell myself short and come here. If I come here, I'm not going to have that room to turn. The same problem with coming out on an L stance, right? So you want to make sure that you have that span. I take 2 blocks, okay? That's my thing. Then you're going to have to pivot and have enough room to come out on an angle rather than a straight ahead line. Because when golden cockerel is veering to the left and veering to the right, same with maiden. You don't want to come straight here because you don't have room to turn. You want to come veer to the left. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, right foot on a cross section. left foot, left toe, left foot parallel, in line, okay? And your weight is on your back. So this is the span that I'm talking about. So you find that comfortable span. To find the comfortable span, you exaggerate the span and say, hey, this is way too much. Then you bring it in and you find that comfort, okay? And then if you say, but I'm not sure, maybe it's still too far, then inch in closer and then try to turn. And if you can't, then you have to adjust, okay? So that's self-discovery. That's taking it home, figuring it out. Good for your brain. Weight down on that back foot, on your toe, come down, both are down. You're going to eventually, as the left hand passes your midway, you're going to take it out with hands go for the ride by spinning your left heel outwards to the left to come up and shift your weight as a golden cockerel. So you get the bigger picture, and then you say, okay, now I get the bigger picture. I have to end up as a golden cockerel, but I have to shift my weight, I have to pivot my foot after I get my parallel. And I have to spin, because she already taught me that when you're a golden cockerel, you're going to have to not go this way, you're going to have to turn on your axis like this. So you then say, oh yeah, I can apply it right away. Okay, so let's see how much we can apply. All right, any questions first? The best way is to keep on trying it and then question or examine, re-examine, and then say to yourself, although Tai Chi may be very difficult, and especially with this move, it's got to be logical, okay? And then that part of logic then is filtered by what you see, what you hear, what your body can do, and that's logical until someone tells you, hey, but, then it gets more logical, right? It's like that's what you're here for some instructions and some for self-discovery. All right, right foot on a cross section. And you know that, do it with me, the toe of the left foot has to come out this way because then it's parallel, right? You know that the weight is on the back or right foot. You know the hand is here. The hook hand is higher. The hook is just like a single whip. So the thumb remains in the center with 4 fingers surrounding it in a loose way, and the wrist, can you do this? The wrist comes down, wrist drops down, wrist drops down, wrist drops down, thumb is surrounded. Thumbs are surrounded, wrist drops down. Very soft. Not, yeah, drop your hand and then do not purse it. Just keep it soft. But they're touching, okay? So this hand is higher. This hand is almost like a brush knee where, you know, when it's like this, so it's like this, okay? It's not like this, but it's like this, okay? Like this, okay? And we know the weight is on the right. We know that our foot, our toe has to be this way. We know we have to come down. What do we know? Show me. We have to come down. When we lower down, we're rooting down, we're taking care of gravity. As we come down, we turn our hips and waist. Our hand went down to the mid portion of our body. When we turn to come out to the left, everything twists to the left. What is everything? The top, the torso, the hips and waist, and the pivoted foot comes to the left. That's easy. Nothing is left out. Everything moves as a unit. Let's see how that's true. Hooked hand, split, and you can check your split, okay? Weight down, turn the hips and waist, halfway. As you're ready to pivot and your hands are going to veer to the left, everything moves as a unit as you pivot, veering to the left, stretch out, and set. We're going through it entirely, seeing it as a whole first. Right now, you're about 50-50, maybe a little 40-60, but 50-50 for our purposes. You're sort of in a bow stance. You're going to swing or shift your weight to the forward foot, turn on your axis and make a golden cockroach. Okay, one more time. Let's turn this way. 45 in the back, and you're like this. Actually like this, right? We're on an angle. Okay? You're going to do this motion. How? Show me. Are you engaging your core, or are you just moving your hands? Engage your core. Think it through. The hand comes back, the hand comes forward. In unison. Hook, in unison. Hook, give up the hook. Give up the hook. Okay? So here we are, sort of in a bow stance. We're going to do this, and at the same time, shift your weight to the front foot, spin on the axle, golden cockroach. Toe, spin yet again, left hand is the hook. So now we look at our feet and we say, hey, we got to make something better than that, because what you do on one side has to be done on the other side. So what did we say? The toe, when you spin, the toe has to be in line with the heel. So you're going to have to do some homework and work on that, so that you, yes, can look down and check, but eventually you're going to have to. So this is what I mean, okay? So this is sort of what I mean. This is the first veering to the left. The hook hand comes up. I shift my weight. I go on my axis. I tilt towards the left toe, and I spin. I should have the toe in line with the heel. Weight on the back, split, down. Everything moves with my body. Veering now to the right, set. Setting it up right. I know that this is going to be a hard one. I'm going to wait until I'm steady. Then I'm going to shift my weight, veer to the right this time, veer to the right this time, and come up as a golden cockroach. Then go the opposite way to shuttle. Okay? Is it easy? Huh? No, it's not easy. So is it going to come in a few minutes? It might. Things can click in. But you're going to get it a little better, because you don't want to, you want to keep your standard, right? So you're going to have to practice, and you're going to have to study what's happening. And when you study and you look and practice, you say, hey, that kind of makes sense. The more you do it, it will make good sense. It's very logical. You're using your body in a whole unit, rather than just saying, oh, this goes here, and be a robot to get there. It's going to smooth out nicely, okay? All right. I'll tell you truthfully that my golden cockerel, if you look at me over 11 years, the span of time that I've been teaching is kind of different from what I'm doing now. You look at me and you look at Ken and you say, oh, I'd rather have Ken's style. I'd rather have Ken's style too, but I don't have his body. That's a good excuse, right? And I don't have your body, and vice versa. So you do whatever you can with whatever you have, and that's fine. And you work within your own system to get it better. Okay? Ken, you want to show them yours? Okay, so then you'll say, of course, right? Because I would like to do it, but I have a hard time doing what he does. And he tells me, do this, do that, and it doesn't come easy. So I teach you my way, he teaches you your way, and then you find your own way.
She's a stellar student. Took her only 11 years. Took me 20 years to figure it out. And I still don't, whenever I get up here, I'm showing something different. It's a thing in evolution. And sometimes it could be a step forward and then a step back, but this is the rendition that I normally would go with. So you start off here, yeah? And I don't do it like brush knee, but it's here. The hand is like so. But it's like so, and I stretch farther than some people, but the feet end up being parallel. Here, come down as much as you can, and then as this hand is coming up, it leads the foot. Yeah? And then, but I always used to forget this hand. This is a lazy hand. But you tuck this guy underneath. See? Tuck this guy. It helps you to do this. Yeah? So, come down, turn here, and then from here, this doesn't just come straight up. It comes this way. But this hand also comes this way. See? Oh, sorry. Okay. And in fact, what I didn't do was, as I come here, this is coming here. This should help you to get out. It helps you to get out. You're getting ready to shift weight. Up, okay? So, my newest version requires that you don't forget this hand. You know, like when I first try to teach people, everybody's wanting to do this, everybody's wanting to do this. They're not thinking you got to do this or you got to do this, right? Same thing here. Down, here, up, okay? And this hand, as you're coming from this position, the balance is here. So your balance is here, but now you're about to shift weight. So you rotate here. And then you're going to shift, you're going to rotate even farther. You're going to try to get this hand to sweep you farther. Okay? But the key, one of the keys, and I still have difficulty, is trying to get this foot beyond straight. Here, should be out here, sort of going in that direction, because then you can come up. You get a little better balance. If you go straight, like you saw me at the beginning, I'm sort of falling to one side. So it's just exercise in evolution and understanding what your body is capable of doing. Okay, well, I guess there's so much to learn, and it's beyond count, like I keep telling people, it's beyond counting 10, beyond counting 16, beyond counting 27. It's just knowing the sequence and then working with it for however long you're in Tai Chi, working with your body, its limitations at the given time, work up to improve that, but also get into your mind the techniques. That's why we go back to, nowadays I go back to Yang Cheng Fu's.